Good evening. June the 12th. It is Journal 77, which means it's T plus 71, or 61 rather. Getting ahead of myself, getting a little anxious there. Um, it was interesting. I woke up this morning thinking about what I wanted to talk about tonight, and then my home care nurse came to flush out my PICC line. That That's my plumbing, by the way. I don't know if I've shown it to you before. Pretty interesting. Less painful than getting shots, I have to tell you. Um, and we've been having an ongoing discussion about goal setting and about success. And I can't help myself. I guess I'm a teacher uh, by design or by desire. And that discussion has been really interesting in a lot of different ways. She has some unique challenges, uh, and I've been trying to help her. Talking about psycho-cybernetics and personal development, and uh, an idea board, a goal board, uh, as it were. And I'm not sure exactly how I came up this morning, but all of a sudden we found ourselves, or I found myself, um, talking about the importance of understanding uh, why you're trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. And it comes from a really excellent book and TED Talk presentation by Simon Sinek. Um, the TED Talk is entitled The Golden Circle, and the book is Start With Why. Raise your hands if you've read it. Um, it's a really powerful book. It's a really incredible book if you are a leader or a manager and you are entrusted with setting a course for your team. And if you aren't familiar with the book, it's really fascinating. Um, the principle is simple. Sinek suggests that most companies, when you engage people in most companies and ask them about their companies, they will start out by telling you what they do and then go into a discussion of how they do it. And the TED Talk is fascinating just by virtue of the examples that he used. Among them were the Wright brothers, Martin Luther King, and Apple computers. And if you haven't read the book, or if you haven't seen the TED Talk, then I certainly, and you're in a position of leadership or management, or even if you're not, um, it's well worth the time involved in researching it. In discussing this with my home care nurse, you know, it occurred to me that the technology that Sinek uses to help managers and leaders, entrepreneurs, small business owners, large business owners find their way um, applies to all of us in many respects. Um, to a large degree, we define ourselves by and this is for a lifetime. We define ourselves by what we do. Um, Even to the point where we'll explain how we get it done. But rarely do we ever discuss, or rarely does anyone ever ask us why we do it. Um, and that why becomes critically important on a number of different levels, because it's the fuel that powers you forward, that gives you the strength to go ahead and pursue those goals and try and figure out what you have to do in order to make them a reality. And all the other technologies, I think, at least at this point in my thinking, um, and my values and belief system are secondary to having that really strong why. And it even applies to something um, as basic as recovering from a challenging medical condition, such as I have, or such as someone you know might have, or yourself included. And we have, when I was in the hospital, we brought pictures of our grandchildren and our children from home and put them up above the one of the closets in the room, and scotch taped them to the cover, so that I had pictures of my son, my daughter, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, and our grandkids there. And that was my why. I mean, my why was the reason that I was so focused on getting well is because I have lots of joy and special occasions um, that I want to be a part of, especially with my family. And that why is powerful. I mean, it's really incredibly powerful, and you can handle most anything if you're focused uh, on a why that is that strong. It's easy to be resolute when you're looking at pictures of your kids or your grandkids or your partner, or it really doesn't matter what. Or if you are saving mankind, if you're participating, if you're contributing in a powerful and positive way, um, that why is what it takes to um, draw you into a better future, because that why is usually defined as a part of that future. Um, then you can talk about how and what. Um, what I do in order to survive, what I'm doing in order to survive, um, is not easy. It's easier because I have a powerful why, and I think more about the why than I think about the what. Um, the what I don't always have a lot of control over, nor do I have a lot of control over the how. The doctors, for the most part, have that part of the recovery handled. To a large degree, I kid around all the time about all I have to do is just show up and not do anything stupid. Or as my son admonished me before I went into the hospital, um, don't, Dad, a lot of people have gone out of their way to donate blood and platelets, and they've sacrificed and inconvenienced. Don't screw this up. Uh, but I think it's worth talking about this issue of your why, and then getting around to understanding uh, the what and the how, because they enable that why to become reality. Because I don't think we think about it enough. I don't think we spend enough time recognizing how important it is. I know in the business that I owned before, my why was ensuring the safety and mobility of our clients as they moved about the world. Um, and That's a pretty big why, especially because freedom and mobility are so important, and especially because safety is so critically important. Um, Now, we did that by performing high quality automotive service, maintenance, and repair. So that's the what we did, but it isn't the why we did it. And how we did it was using state of the art technology whenever we could, and the highest practices, professional standards we could establish, because there are no established, generally accepted standards for our industry. So I think it's important enough to think about. So you might want to consider tonight, tomorrow, sometime in the future, while you're sitting around, exactly what your why is. And you can have more than one, by the way. And you're not constrained to just one why, but you probably will figure out that you have an overriding um, and most important why amongst those. One will rise to the top, and then figure out your what and your how. And let me know what you think. I'd be fascinated to see if you agree or disagree. In the meantime, stay well, take care. We'll see you tomorrow. 29 days to 100. Bye bye.